Beneath the burning sands of Egypt, long before modern roads crisscrossed the desert, lie enormous wooden ships, buried, preserved, and untouched for millennia. But why were these colossal vessels entombed far from the Nile, in the heart of the desert? What secrets could these silent giants reveal about Pharaoh Khufu and his age? Imagine the Giza Plateau around 2500 BCE, a vast expanse of limestone, sand, and labor dominated by the construction of the Great Pyramid. The air buzzes with the calls of workers, the clang of chisels on stone, and the dust of colossal blocks being dragged into place. Pharaoh Khufu, known to history as Cheops, commands the kingdom's finest artisans and engineers, determined to erect a tomb befitting a god on earth. For centuries, Egypt's River Nile dictated life. It carried trade, food, and ideas. Ships were the arteries of the kingdom, massive wooden boats moving stone, timber, and tribute. But here, far from the river's winding channels, the desert hides something even more extraordinary: full-scale ceremonial ships, buried with precision and care, their sheer size defying imagination. Archaeologists in the 20th century stumbled across the first clues: wood fragments peeking through sand near Khufu's pyramid base. Satellite imagery and careful excavation revealed outlines far larger than any Nile-bound vessel. Entire ships entombed, some over 140 feet long, preserved by the arid desert and meticulously reconstructed by Pharaoh's architects. But why? And for what purpose were these ships buried so meticulously in the desert's searing heart? The answer has puzzled historians for generations. In 1954, Egyptian archaeologist Kamal El-Malak made a revelation that stunned the world. While surveying the Giza Plateau, he noticed unusual depressions in the sand, paralleling the pyramid's sides. Excavation revealed the first solar ship, a full-length cedar vessel buried in a pit approximately 50 meters long. Its hull was carefully dismantled and laid out for entombment, preserved with resin and cedar planks transported from Lebanon. The ship, estimated at nearly 143 feet, was unlike any commercial barge or river craft. It bore no sails and seemed impractical for Nile navigation. Yet, its construction was flawless: planks joined with wooden pegs, seams sealed with natural bitumen, and timbers carved to align perfectly with one another. It is as if the pharaoh intended this vessel to sail not on water, but on eternity itself, remarked El-Malak in his 1957 excavation report. Over the next decades, Egyptologists uncovered a total of 5 such ships buried around Khufu's pyramid alone. Each was interred in a massive pit, oriented east-west, likely aligned with the sun's path. Inside, remnants of oars, rope, and even small wooden figurines were found. Some boats were ritualistic models. Others were full-scale vessels, capable of carrying dozens of rowers. These discoveries sparked immediate questions. Pharaohs were often buried with grave goods, jewelry, food, furniture, even animals. But full-size ships? The prevailing theory, grounded in funerary texts like the pyramid texts, suggests these were solar barges, intended to carry the king's soul across the heavens with the sun god Ra. Yet there was more. The craftsmanship of the ships was astounding. Dendrochronology of the cedar timbers confirmed Lebanon as the source, a feat requiring complex logistics over hundreds of miles. The precision of assembly indicated knowledge of geometry, buoyancy, and load distribution far ahead of its time. Some researchers suggest the ships were functional, not just symbolic, capable of river travel. Others argue they were never intended to float, but to serve as eternal vessels in the afterlife, a bridge between the mortal world and the heavens. Excavation techniques revealed further secrets. El Malach carefully documented the pits. The sand had been tamped in layers, sealing the ships from wind and decay. Some pits had limestone blocks over the hulls, effectively creating coffins of stone. Inside, the air was dry, almost sterile, preserving wood, rope, and even traces of paint. Modern restorers painstakingly reconstructed the vessels at the Giza Solar Boat Museum, offering a glimpse of their immense scale and ceremonial importance. Visual records, photographs, and maps from the 1950s through today capture something eerie. The ships are aligned almost exactly with the cardinal points. The largest vessel lies beside the Great Pyramid, spanning its eastern base, while others flank the southern and western edges. Aerial imagery shows these ships forming a subtle network, echoing the pyramid's geometry. Intriguingly, similar solar boats appear in tombs of other pharaohs. Pharaohs Sahur and Nusere also had wooden ships buried nearby, but none match the scale of Khufu's fleet. Scholars argue this suggests a specific cosmic significance, tied to Khufu's ambition as ruler, architect, and intermediary with the divine. Further discoveries hint at ritual complexity. Small wooden figurines of rowers and oarsmen were found inside some vessels, suggesting symbolic crews for the afterlife journey. Inscriptions on hull fragments reference Ra, the sun, an eternal voyage, linking these ships not to commerce, but to the very heart of Egyptian cosmology. And yet, questions remain. Were these ships purely ceremonial, or were they functional vessels? Why were they buried intact, rather than dismantled for reuse? Could the resources and labor invested hint at a kingdom-wide ritual, a statement of power visible across the plateau? Every new study, every carbon date, and every meticulously reconstructed plank deepens the mystery of these desert-bound ships. Scholars have long debated the purpose of Khufu's buried ships. The most widely accepted is the funerary solar barge theory. These vessels were intended to transport the pharaoh's soul across the sky, a symbolic journey with Ra. Texts from the Old Kingdom describe the king navigating the heavens in a celestial boat, mirroring the sun's daily path. Supporters point to the careful alignment of the pits, inscriptions referencing Ra, and ritual figurines as evidence. A second theory suggests a functional transport vessel. Khufu may have intended the ships for use on the Nile in the afterlife. Proponents argue that the craftsmanship and hull design indicate they could float, and the scale implies practical engineering knowledge. Some researchers note parallels to riverboats used to transport stone blocks, hinting these ships may have served dual ceremonial and functional purposes. A more speculative perspective, though grounded in archaeology, emphasizes symbolic power and authority. By burying massive cedar ships far from the river, Khufu displayed unparalleled wealth, reach, and control over resources. Cedar had to be imported from Lebanon, requiring trade and labor. The act of burial, meticulous preservation, and sheer scale may have been intended to awe contemporaries and future generations alike, a statement that only the pharaoh could orchestrate such feats. Despite decades of study, no single explanation fully accounts for the ship's scale, alignment, and intricate construction. They remain a tantalizing blend of ritual, engineering, and cosmic symbolism, a reminder that ancient Egypt often blurred the line between the practical and the divine. Today, Khufu's ships sit restored beside the Great Pyramid, their cedar timbers gleaming in museum light. Yet the desert still holds secrets, pits unexcavated, inscriptions unread, mysteries unresolved. Were these vessels ever meant to sail, or were they eternal conveyors of a king's soul? As you walk among them, it's impossible not to wonder. What other marvels lie hidden beneath Egypt's sands, waiting silently for centuries, whispering stories of ambition, devotion, and the eternal journey to the stars?